Facts or fiction fans, welcome back to my channel. Let's continue to dig in the life of the Harper family. Camara awoke to sunlight streaming through her bedroom windows, a soft glow illuminating the plush white bedding she'd tangled herself in during the restless night. Her thoughts had been dominated by Thomas, his voice, his scent, and the way he had awakened a side of her she thought was long gone. With her 40th birthday just days away, she found herself yearning for excitement, for someone to see her, truly see her. As she stood in front of her closet, carefully selecting her outfit for the day, her phone buzzed on the nightstand. Greg's name flashed across the screen. She sighed, already knowing how this call would go. "Good morning, darling," she answered, feigning cheerfulness. "Morning, Camara," Greg replied, his tone brisk. "I'm in between meetings, but I wanted to check in. The deal in Zurich is coming together nicely, but I've got a lot of moving pieces to manage. Have you spoken to the board about the Harper Foundation Gala next month? We need to finalize the guest list." Camara rolled her eyes as she held the phone between her shoulder and ear, looking in the mirror at her curves. "Greg, do you ever call just to ask how I'm doing? To see if I'm happy?" There was a pause on the line before he responded, his voice laced with impatience. "You know how demanding my work is, Camara. I'm doing this for us, for our future. You understand that, don't you?" She sank onto the edge of the bed and said, "Greg, my 40th birthday is in a few days. I was thinking maybe I could fly out to see you. We could spend some time together. Just us." Greg let out a heavy sigh. "You don't need to do all that. Take the black card and treat yourself to something nice. Get whatever you want, Camara. You deserve it." Her heart sank at his dismissive tone. "Greg, it's not about the money. I want time with you. I'll make it up to you when I get back," he said quickly. "Listen, I've got to go. We'll talk later, all right?" Without waiting for her response, he ended the call. Camara stared at the screen, feeling the familiar sting of disappointment. She tossed the phone onto the bed and stood, her reflection in the mirror catching her attention. Her expression hardened. Before she could talk herself out of it, she picked up the phone and dialed Thomas. "Good morning, Nina," Thomas answered smoothly, his deep voice sending a shiver down her spine. "Good morning," she replied, a small smile tugging at her lips. "Are you busy today? For you? Never. What's on your mind?" Camara hesitated, but the thrill of seeing him again outweighed her reservations. "I was thinking we could meet, maybe grab lunch or coffee?" Thomas chuckled. "I was hoping you'd say that. How about Mason? There's a great little spot there I think you'll like." "Sounds perfect," she said, her heart racing. Hours later, Camara stepped out of her car in downtown Mason, the orange wig concealing her true identity once again. She wore a fitted emerald green dress that highlighted her hourglass figure, paired with nude stilettos and a gold clutch. Her makeup was flawless, her lips painted a sultry red that matched the fire in her eyes. She spotted Thomas waiting outside Rossetti's Cafe, a chic coffee shop with floor-to-ceiling windows and rustic decor. He looked effortlessly handsome in a tailored navy blazer, a crisp white shirt unbuttoned at the collar, and dark jeans. His cologne wafted toward her as she approached, a mix of cedarwood and spice that made her pulse quicken. "Wow," Thomas said, his eyes raking over her. "You look stunning, Nina. Absolutely stunning." "Thank you," she replied, her cheeks flushing. "You clean up pretty well yourself." Inside the cafe, they found a cozy corner table, the soft hum of conversation, and the rich aroma of coffee creating an intimate atmosphere. Thomas ordered 2 cappuccinos and a pair of croissants while Camara admired the way he carried himself, his confidence magnetic. "So," Thomas began, leaning forward, "what's a beautiful woman like you doing alone in Springfield? I find it hard to believe someone hasn't swept you off your feet already." Camara sipped her cappuccino, her lips curving into a playful smile. "Maybe I'm not the type who wants to be swept off her feet." "Ah," Thomas said, his eyes gleaming. "You like to stay in control. I can respect that." Their conversation flowed effortlessly, the flirtation between them growing bolder with each passing moment. Thomas reached across the table, his fingers grazing hers. "You know, Nina, you're intoxicating. I haven't been able to stop thinking about you since the night we met." Camara's breath hitched as his thumb brushed against her knuckles. "Thomas, what are you afraid of?" he asked softly, his eyes locking onto hers. "Whatever it is, I promise you, with me, there's nothing to fear." Camara looked away, her mind a whirlwind of emotions. "Let's get out of here," Thomas said suddenly, his voice low and suggestive. "There's a hotel just down the street. We could get a room, order some champagne, and talk." Chimera's heart raced at the suggestion, her body betraying her with a rush of heat. "Thomas, I don't think—" "I'm not asking for anything you're not ready to give," he interrupted, his tone earnest. "I just want to spend more time with you. No pressure, no expectations." She hesitated, the war between her heart and her head raging. Finally, she nodded, her voice barely above a whisper. "All right, let's go." After their parting words at the cafe, Thomas and Chimera left Rossetti's in a blur of excitement and whispered promises. The evening had already taken on a heady quality as they strolled down the vibrant streets of Mason. The neon glow of boutique storefronts and the distant hum of late-night traffic lent a surreal quality to their steps, each moment pulsing with unspoken desire. Before long, they found themselves at a nearby upscale hotel bar, where Thomas ordered another round of martinis. The clink of ice in the glasses, the rich aroma of citrus and juniper, and the soft murmur of jazz deepened the intimacy between them. With each sip, their laughter grew louder, their glances more intense, until the world around them began to fade into a comfortable haze of alcohol and attraction. Thomas's voice dropped low as he leaned closer. "Nina, tonight has been unlike any other. I can't stop thinking about you." Chimera's heart pounded in response, her earlier reservations melting away in the warmth of his gaze. "I feel the same," she admitted softly, her voice carrying a mix of vulnerability and longing. The drinks flowed freely as they shared stories and secrets, each revelation drawing them closer. Their flirtatious banter shifted into a tangible tension, one that promised both excitement and risk. When the clock neared midnight, Thomas suggested, almost hesitantly, "How about a nightcap in my room? We could talk a little more privately." For a brief moment, Chimera hesitated, caught between the remnants of her cautious nature and the thrill of newfound passion, but the pull was irresistible. "Maybe just a nightcap," she murmured, her voice laced with both anticipation and surrender. In the dim light of Thomas's elegantly appointed hotel room, the charged atmosphere deepened further. Soft jazz still played in the background as they settled near a large window that framed the quiet city below. The conversation waned into a series of meaningful silences punctuated by lingering touches. Champagne bubbles and lingering martinis had loosened their tongues and their inhibitions. It wasn't long before the tension broke, giving way to a dramatic intimacy. In a haze of inebriation and raw emotion, Thomas's gentle yet insistent caresses drew Chimera deeper into the moment. Their laughter, once playful and light, turned into whispered confessions as they found solace in each other's arms. Every touch, every glance was a promise of escape, of passion, of rediscovering parts of themselves long forgotten. Before dawn could break, as the first hints of light crept through the curtains, Chimera realized with a mix of exhilaration and trepidation that she had surrendered completely to the night. She was in Thomas's room, her inhibitions left far behind, embraced by a passion that was as dangerous as it was thrilling. As sleep began to claim them in the early hours, the consequences of the night lingered like shadows on the wall. The future remained uncertain, a delicate balance between desire and the responsibilities they both carried. But for now, in the quiet intimacy of that room, all that mattered was the electric connection that promised both joy and heartbreak in equal measure. Before dawn could break, as the first hints of light crept through the curtains, Chimera realized with a mix of exhilaration and trepidation that she had surrendered completely to the night. She was in Thomas's room, her inhibitions left far behind, embraced by a passion that was as dangerous as it was thrilling. As sleep began to claim them in the early hours, the consequences of the night lingered like shadows on the wall. The future remained uncertain, a delicate balance between desire and the responsibilities they both carried. But for now, in the quiet intimacy of that room, all that mattered was the electric connection that promised both joy and heartbreak in equal measure. Thanks for listening, and don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to my channel. Is this a fact or fiction? Comment below and see you all in the next video.